Sony is doing a good job at kind of combating what Microsoft has to offer with Xbox Game Pass. Now, while Xbox Game Pass is a fantastic service with a lot of quality games, I feel like Sony, despite the fact that they claim that they're not really trying to compete against Game Pass, have done a pretty good job of competing against Game Pass. And with this particular announcement and these types of moves, I think they've positioned themselves to be super competitive against Game Pass. Now, for me personally, is this as good as getting day and date games? No, I don't think that, but I still think that it's a very quality and awesome move by Sony to get these types of announcements and pieces of news out there, especially on slower news weeks, because more people are going to cover it, right? So we're going into this sort of weird day and age where, YouTubers will cover all the same stuff, right? So all these different audiences see these videos and people covering it and things like that. So I'm very thankful that I have, the small audience that I have and, to talk about this stuff because one, I think Sony definitely is trying to compete with Game Pass. Two, I feel like, these subscription services are going to be a big part of everybody's gaming experience going forward, whether it's Game Pass or, whether it's PlayStation Plus Plus or whether it's something in between. I still feel like these are basically kind of the future of gaming, and that's not to say that we won't have the option to buy, because I feel like we will have the option to buy. We'll pretty much always have the option to buy, but I gotta say that I'm a big fan of having multiple options and being able to just kind of go out there and say, hey, this is the way that works for me. For me personally, like I like using Game Pass, and if there's a game that I was specifically going to get and it surprisingly goes into Game Pass, then I'll spend that money on a different game. Right? So the money still gets invested. The developers all get supported. The developers obviously get supported with Game Pass or PlayStation Plus. And, then obviously I can support someone else with upfront cash as well. So it literally really all works out, and I'm a big fan of that. Now, going forward into the future, will Sony make more of a bigger leap with sort of kind of an announcement to kind of coincide with what Microsoft is doing? That's something that I think is worthwhile discussing at some point. They don't really need to, as long as their fans are willing to, pay $70 a piece for the games. And Sony's done a good job of kind of playing. I use the term loosely, playing their fans, right? So I think a lot of hardcore PlayStation fans realistically fear a quality downgrade, right? Oh, we don't want a quality downgrade. We can't have that. So, Sony sees this because, of course, they've got people online going, you know what? Our fans are really worried if we did a Game Pass type of thing that the quality of our games would suffer. So let's go out there and play on those fears and announce that publicly, that if we ever did a Game Pass thing day and date, that the quality of the games would suffer. And, then they get all the PlayStation fans kind of up in arms about it. But in reality, you can't let your quality suffer if you're doing a service, because nobody's going to subscribe to this service. See, so it doesn't really make sense. Now, with that being said, I want to get into this. Great announcements, really cool stuff. I can't wait to get into it. It's been a wild weekend in news and all this kind of stuff, and I can already tell it's going to be a big week for gaming news. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Now, all along, I've kind of stated that I thought that Sony was definitely going to try and play against Xbox Game Pass, despite the fact that a lot of the fans and Sony themselves were kind of downplaying that. Clearly, they're not going to restructure something if it's working fine against Game Pass. The fact that Game Pass has been so successful with, 25 to 30 million subscribers is very probably alarming to Sony, because they don't want to see that kind of take away from what they're offering their own fans. So it puts them in a weird type of situation. Now, going forward, this is the type of stuff that really we need to see. Now, it looks like there's a couple of games that, Sony's going to have to work on getting into their version of PlayStation Plus to make it worthwhile. The one thing that they can do is add their first-party games quicker. I think you could probably do it within a year or so, and it would be a big boon to the service. Now it's rumored that Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart may soon come to PlayStation Plus Premium and Extra. Earlier today, someone shared a snapshot of a French PlayStation Plus Premium page showing Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and what could be a hint that the game made by Insomniac would launch soon on the subscription tier. As a reminder, the new PlayStation Plus is now available across all territories, and users can choose between the Essential, which is the same as the old PlayStation Plus, the Extra, which adds a catalog of up to 400 PS4 and PS5 games for an added $40, and the Premium tier, which adds up to 340 games split between PS3 which is cloud streaming, and a catalog of classic games available in streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP for another $20. It should be noted that this cannot be taken as confirmation that Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart will be made available on the PS Plus Extra or Premium. Another part of the perk of the PlayStation Plus Premium tier is time-limited game trials. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart launched as a PS5 exclusive a little over a year ago, and the game garnered widespread acclaim, including what this site gave a 9.5 out of 10. I personally thought it was a fantastic game and think they did an absolutely amazing job with kind of getting everything kind of worked out to where, hey, you know what, this game looked great. It really takes advantage of the PlayStation 5, showcasing what it can do. So I do think that it's been pretty interesting that they've kind of kept everybody on the hook with this type of game. Now listen, a year out, I think that works well for them. You know, it might keep some of those people that are possibly going to be unhappy about not getting day one games, say, oh, well, I can wait a year. I think that's going to be the ploy going forward. You have to kind of keep it into that area. That way it's not exactly day one. You're still going to get, that first year of, cash from people. But, at the end of the day, we'll probably see Sony continue to grow their own platform. Now, listen, it's not just that. Like, basically the Essential program is the bread and butter. That's what I have. It's the basic, bare bones, $60 a year one. Now, their July lineup supposedly leaked, and it sounds pretty impressive. Like the previous month, it comes from someone who was a leaker who basically was spot on when it comes to these things, and these titles are said to be part of next month PlayStation Plus Essential tier, which is the cheapest subscription. Trust me, I'm well ahead of you. I'm aware that the way that Sony is advertising these tiers is very confusing, and so I just want to kind of be upfront about that. I get it, man. Like PS Plus, PS Plus Plus, and PS Plus Plus Plus, Essential, this, that. It's like very confusing. I get it, but anyway, it's actually pretty damn good games. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, which again, I gotta say is probably the best Crash Bandicoot game I've ever played. It's fantastic. It's modern. It's also got more of a retro mode with lives and things like that, or it's more modern where you just get as many as you want, which is the way that I play it. But they also Dark Pictures Anthology, Man of Medan, which I thought was really interesting. You also get Arcadegeddon, which is a PS5, PS4 game. Is a cooperative multiplayer game that provides a mix of PvE and PvP experiences that allow for all different speeds of play. As you continue to play and you take on additional challenges from local gangs and things like that, you'll earn you much more street cred. Speaking of street cred, you can earn your spot on the leaderboards. Interestingly, Dark Pictures Man of Medan is also part of PlayStation Plus Extra tier. Subscribers on PS Plus Extra or Premium, however, will do wise to claim this game as soon as it becomes available. That way you can kind of keep it as long as you have the service. As always, take the leak with a grain of salt, but it is very interesting that, Sony is continuing with a very strong, lineup for their more basic, tier, because I think that it's fantastic. And, listen, I really think that it's smart for them to offer the basic tier to be that good, because if you look at games with gold, there's really been no kind of, there's really been kind of no great big announcements there, right? So, yeah, it is unfortunate that, that happens, but at the same time, Microsoft seems to be all in on Game Pass, as opposed to, obviously, the situation with Sony, who's trying to do, all this stuff combined. So we'll see what happens. I have a feeling that gold will be phased out soon enough. I'm not in a hurry for gold to be phased out. I enjoy picking up, the extra games and things like that. But it's not exactly just what I think, man. What do you people think? That's the important part. Sound off down below. Let me know. If you guys do enjoy the content, please leave a like on the video. It helps it to be seen, and it helps the channel to grow. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Crap Gamer out.